Now, in the next 30 minutes on Business Live, data from National Communications Authority shows 17 million mobile phone subscribers have registered their SIM cards since the registration exercise began.
We have 17 million SIMs that have fully registered their SIM cards, and we are encouraged, and we know that people are actually interested. What we plea with the public is that they should go ahead and register their SIMs so that they are not deprived of communication services.
Also, Bank of Ghana to impose heavy fines on banks and other financial institutions that breach new guidelines on digital service offerings. Plus, government's advice to tighten tax on international trade. We'll hear from Executive Secretary of the African Tax Administration Forum.
Tighten up your taxes on international trade. You've got to tighten up your taxes on the digital economy. The digital economy here in Ghana has exponentially increased over the last decade.
My name is Beverly Broohm. Do stay with me. Hello and welcome. Let's settle for the details. 17 million mobile phone subscribers have so far registered their SIM cards since the registration began. That's according to the National Communications Authority. According to its Director of Consumer and Corporate Affairs, Nana Defie-Bedu, her outfit does not expect all the 42 million subscribers to register their SIM cards since some of them are cards used by fraudsters. With about 14 days more to go to the end of the SIM card registration, Nana Defie-Bedu entreated subscribers to get registered before their SIM cards are blocked.
We are going ahead to fully enforce the directives, and I think it's important for us to say or note that we have been working with the mobile network operators on this. We gave the directives. We worked with them on how best to implement these directives, looking at their network and the capabilities of their networks. It is difficult to say that we're expecting 42 million SIM cards to be totally registered by the end of this registration process. As Ken mentioned, and let me touch on that too, these 42 million active SIMs that we see on our networks are actually also include SIMs that are being used by the fraudsters. So yes, we don't expect to see those SIMs being registered. Again, it is also possible for some people who do multi-SIMing to also say that, well, I may decide not to even register a whole number of SIMs again, given that there's also a quota for registering your SIM as an individual. You have a quota of 10 SIMs to register. So obviously, we don't expect to see that number of SIMs fully registered by the end of September. But we have 17 million SIMs that have fully registered their SIM cards, and we are encouraged, and we know that people are actually interested. What we plea with the public is that they should go ahead and register their SIMs so that they are not deprived of communication services.
Nana Defie-Bedu is the Director of Consumer and Corporate Affairs at the National Communications Authority. Now to the Bank of Ghana, as is set to impose heavy fines on banks and other financial institutions that fail to comply with new guidelines on digital services offered to customers. This was captured in a draft guidelines on provision of financial services and products in the country. My colleague George Riafe has the rest of the story.
The Bank of Ghana in this draft guidelines maintained that if a bank or financial institution fails to comply or breach one of the guidelines, the firm may have to pay as much as 120,000 Ghana cedis. So if the institution breaches two guidelines, we are looking at 240,000 Ghana cedis. This financial institution in question, per the Bank of Ghana's new regulations, is supposed to capture this fine in its financial statements. The guidelines, which will soon be adopted after a review by industry players, seeks to provide what some might describe as a minimum disclosure to guide providers of digital financial services and products. The Bank of Ghana says the proliferation of mobile devices and other tech platforms has influenced these laws. One of the guidelines, for instance, indicates that all fees and charges offered on these digital services platforms must be clearly stated to clients and will only be applicable when clients are given their consents. On loan disbursement, the regulator maintains that customers should be given 2 days of cool-off before the agreement fully takes off. And during these times, the customer might have the time to even reject this offer. The Bank of Ghana believes that these guidelines, if are fully complied, might go a long way to reduce or avoid customers being shortchanged in this new digital era.
Executive Secretary of the African Tax Administration Forum, Logan Worth, is pressing the African government to tighten tax on international trade and increase investment in digital tax collection systems. According to him, this has become necessary due to the gradual shift in the use of technology over the years, which is partly attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic. Logan Worth spoke to Joy Business after addressing members of the forum at the ongoing annual Congress, which is seeking to come up with strategies to deal with the revenue shortfalls expected in the implementation of the Continental Free Trade Agreement.
You will find not only small businesses, you also find medium and bigger businesses that hides within an informal sector. You've got to introduce and tighten up your taxes on international trade. You've got to tighten up your taxes on the digital economy. The digital economy here in Ghana has exponentially increased over the last decade by $2 to $3 billion annually. What is the domestic tax take from that? And so you need to invest in the digitalization of your tax administration. You've got to invest in advanced policies for taxing the multinational enterprises, and you've got to bring more of your middle classes into the tax net. And that is the issues that this conference will be looking at. They would have done research, they would have looked at data, and they would have analyzed this data. And these are not information and policy proposals from people that are not from the continent. These are experts and scholars and thought leaders from the African continent that has come up with ideas for Africa to improve its broader tax base and take a better benefit out of the Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University in the USA, Dr. Williams Pipra, has described the resolve by the Managing Director of the IMF to ensure Ghana gets a program before the end of the year as a boost for investor confidence. According to him, it will also help slow down the depreciation of the cedi and the rise in inflation. Dr. Pipra says the announcement is timely and will come as a huge relief to the economy, which has come under pressure in recent times.
This announcement has come at the right time and it's going to bring confidence into the economy. So if you listen to the managing director, she mentioned that exogenous factors contributed to the situation. And we are also aware that endogenous factors in the country also may have contributed in some way when it comes to the way we have managed our cash flow situation in the country and our borrowing strategies. So investors have been worried all this while because our balance of payment has been depleted. So this announcement is really coming at the appropriate time to ensure that by the end of December 2022, a program will be established and funds will be flowing from IMF to support our balance of, currently our negative balance of payment, to turn into a little bit of positive, which will give confidence to investors who have their businesses in Ghana and who want to repatriate whether their dividends or some form of meeting the trade demand when it comes to paying their supplies outside the country. So it is based on this that I'm saying that it has come at the right time. And indeed, it's going to make sure that we have a lot of investors coming into the country.
Yeah, and how significant is it that we are going to get a program earlier than we anticipated? And she would, however, not say how much Ghana is going to get from the fund. How would that decision on the amount be arrived at? What considerations will be made?
So the amount that probably will be on the table, as Ghana, Ghana has presented initially was 1.5 billion. And we're looking at our balance of payment. Currently, we are a negative of $2.3 billion. So if we really want to get out of the mess, I'm sure that is why we are requesting for a $3 billion, which will give us room to operate about $700 million. And as a country, $700 million coming in excess of the current negative is really going to support our balance of payment.
You're still watching Business Live here on the Joy News channel with me, Beverly Broohm. Now, to some other stories. The United Nations Development Program, UNDP, has begun a project aimed at promoting sustainable business operations in Ghana. The initiative, funded by the government of Japan, seeks to enhance respect for human rights and thereby increase productivity at the workplace. The following report has more.
The United Nations Development Program, UNDP, since April 2022, has been working to improve human rights standards in business in 17 countries, including Ghana, through a new project funded by the government of Japan. By promoting the implementation of the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights, the initiative will better equip governments and companies in West Africa to understand and act upon their duties and responsibilities to prevent abuses such as forced labor and discrimination. Deputy Resident Representative of the UNDP in Ghana, Sukrob Koshumkamedov, has been explaining to Joy Business about the importance of the project.
The private sector will be involved, particularly in trainings on how to be more basically human rights related, and this is important for the private sector, particularly taking into account that the big players at the market, particularly for exporting companies, that the big players or countries at the market, I mean United States, European Union countries, Australia, are introducing this business responsible. Basically, they're doing due diligence for the businesses that they're from the countries that they're importing from. So that's why it's going to be important for the businesses in Ghana to have that approach and to understand that approach and introduce it in order to be able to further grow and being able to export to these big markets.
Deputy Minister for Justice and Attorney General Dana Dapa hinted that there is the need for more education for business owners.
This Article 12 that I talked to you about has been there since 1992. The Labour Act has been there even before the discussion before 2011 when the UN Guiding Principle was enacted. And so there has to be enormous cost. And I agree with you that on the point of education, we need to do much more. Because the laws are there, the institutions are there, both judicial and non-judicial mechanisms. It is only up to us now to be educated, to be insensitized, and to then make the move to apply these laws and these policies. Yes.
Another objective of the project is to help Ghana and other targeted countries develop policies to tackle business-related human rights abuses.
We're going on a quick break here on Business Life. We'll be right back. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on Business Live. Now to the Techiman municipality, where mobile money operators at the Techiman Central Market are lamenting the negative impacts of the electronic transaction levy that was introduced by the government in May this year on their trades. They say the new communication tax, since its introduction, is slowly crippling their businesses, as those who patronize their service are now switching to the traditional banking system. My colleague Anas Sabit has been engaging some of them and came through with the following report.
Some mobile money vendors in the Techiman municipality are lamenting the negative effects of the electronic transaction levy on their businesses. Momo agents, particularly those operating in the Techiman Central Market, say the introduction of the electronic tax is slowly crippling their businesses. Secretary Bratton Joseph shares with me how the situation is having a toll on their trade.
Asana 11 no beba no na adwuma ekoso pai nanso so na 11 a ebaaye no ase na me se ebeba no ekwan e fa so a esi baaye no any education se de ansi anko ama ebimu ne ntiase a o manya ne ntino akoma abeshe customers no aha ntino ama adwuma de se na ekofom esine se first na 11 no nya emaye no.
He says business personalities who deal in bulk cash are currently not accessing the mobile money platform as they used to prior to the introduction of the controversial electronic transaction levy.
They say, Omo send sika kese as a mudiye business. So here I no market center, Omo send sika kese diye business no. Omo that fear they say Omo ba be on beti Omo some percentage bi. And I'm 11 on the percentage in ha antino. Amo mu nyina no emma to say the na first wo ho no mo aba. Aha.
Anita Mponsa is also an agent here at the Techiman Central Market. She says businessmen and women who visit the Techiman Central Market are now switching to the banking systems, and this is affecting their cash-in commissions.
You know, first na enya maye no na adwuma no koso by since 11 buy na ma adwuma no so ate customer na first no best and amount kese fa na ma okwan so se omo ma bi obi akọ bank ntama adwuma no kofom higher pa because first number send there cash commission by enya more but they say cash commission by enya.
Anita asked that with the current economic difficulties across the country, the situation is impacting negatively on their finances.
They said I might you go to better the whole day. Better light, ubedi who ma busia but you say nya
Nana Amabima used to access mobile money regularly. She tells me that her transactions on the Momo platform has reduced drastically since the introduction of the levy.
First said Momo no, and then this time around different because of e-levy you know. So I must say no best and this car movie or dream home you know, we share distance no. Na nipa no wetumi abeja na wetumi akoma na obey consider no answer.
They are therefore appealing to government to consider sensitizing the populace on the levy as well as reduce or scrap the levy entirely to keep them in business.
Mafutu and be ma ban ni say oma education no ensai enkoso yie na afensu so se percentage na mo beti no so betima ye bibi kakra afa ho a omonya bibi kakra fa ho na emra from na emo sakwanya zo beba na so mu yifiri wa kra no na adwuma timi koso se de we se koso ma ye na ke yesu ke ni beje ho
so me kan se no yesra omo 11 so betima ye afi ma ye omonyi yifiri na adwuma no koso le first na koso e ma ye
oh say empanyimfo ne say omo je dia aboain. That is what they are saying. It is almost me reducing na ebeboain so omu jai ne kran de we know so omunye aha so me reduce kakra am I said the network providers na reduce omu de ne kakra. I think saying okay.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Traders at the KJTL market in Kumasi are calling on managers of the facility to contract the Electricity Company of Ghana to install new single meters. The traders are against the award of contract to a private company, arguing the ECG is better placed to provide the service. There's more in this report by Love FM's Mona Lisa Frimpong.
It has been more than 2 years since the KJTL traders started the agitation for the installation of separate electricity meters. They have been resistant payment of utility bills, claiming the shared cost from a single meter at the market is expensive. Management says they have opened tender for prospective bidders. But traders believe the ECG has the capacity to provide quality but affordable meters and should be contracted for the job. Chairman of the Federation of Kumasi Traders, Eric Nana Akwesi Prempe, says a petition has been sent to management and other stakeholders appealing for the award of contract to ECG to fast-track the procurement of the meters.
We realize that the company, Kumasi City Market Limited, caused an advert in the Ghanaian Times newspaper waiting for prospective bidders to bring in their tender for the process. But we also realize that in this country, the sole company that the state has given them power to work on electricity and the likes is Electricity Company of Ghana. So we wrote the letter to the board chairman and copied these authorities to also come to the aid of the traders.
According to Nana Prempe, ECG has indicated they are capable of delivering following a meeting between them and Kumasi City Markets Limited.
In this country, ECG has the mandate. They have the technical ability and the technical know-how, and they have the men. Even if they are to give to a private supplier to bring in the meters, ECG had to certify whether these meters are of their standard. 2, if they are to do the installation, it is this same ECG who will bring their technical men to come and supervise. 3, we also believe that if ECG is to make the procurement for the meters, in this country, everybody knows the cost of meter, single phase and then 3-phase from ECG company. Now, this private supplier who is to bring in these meters, we believe it will be on the higher cost.
Mona Lisa reporting.
Now, the National Biosafety Authority has approved the environmental release of the first genetically modified crop in Ghana. This means that the crop has been verified that it does not cause any harm after consumption. Speaking to Joy Business, Chief Executive of the authority, Eric Okorie, said that farmers can now purchase the pod borer-resistant cowpea, which the CSIR Savannah Agricultural Research Institute has been working on for the past years.
Nigeria produces it very high. The probability that this cowpea will come to Ghana based on the ECOWAS trade arrangement is very high. And so why don't we then allow the Ghanaian farmers to plant it and then do their business and do their farming instead of waiting for it to come from somewhere and the public will buy it? We better regulate it here ourselves and make sure that it goes according to what we are doing. And so these were some of the things that we looked at, and we give the approval for the gene, the safety of the gene. Now, let me put on record that what the National Biosafety Authority has done is approval of the gene. It is not the cowpea, that GMO cowpea is not released yet. It is going to another level, and that level is approval by the Varietal Release Committee under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. So this committee is going to look at it and then look at it as a variety and whether it is suitable for release. So they are now looking at it and they are working independently. The Biosafety Authority has done its work, approved, and the Varietal Release Committee is also supposed to look at it. And when they approve it, that is when it can come out as a new variety to the Ghanaian farmers for them to plant. Until then, it's not out yet. So we are all waiting.
Note, we end Business Live here on the Joy News channel. Thank you so much for your time. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Beverly Broohm. Enjoy the rest of our programs.